thank you for joining. Since I do these videos live, I never know how long they're gonna be. And so if this one is really long, it's mainly because what I might do in this video is it jittery? Maybe that's just my end. It was like starting and stopping. But what I might do in this video is actually just work live and kind of like treat this like a hangout. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but my phone's acting a little strange. I feel like lately my technology's been really slow, which is annoying because I feel like, do I need to get a new phone, a new computer? Both on the older side of technology, but I also don't like buying things just to buy something new. Okay, I'm trying to plug this in. Okay, so I'm also a bit hyped up on caffeine. So if I seem like a little hyper, it's because I've had a lot of caffeine. I have a ton of work to do, and I guess like I took some caffeine thinking it would help me focus, but it had the opposite effect. And now I feel a bit jittery and hyper and like I'm having trouble focusing. So hopefully, I was hoping this video would be a good chance to check in because generally, as I've said, and you may have seen in the past, I did live videos for this channel every Monday at 5. It's 4 p.m. Pacific right now, a little early, but I'm trying to get back into a similar schedule so you'll know when to catch me live for those of you that want to join, like Musty Fan who's here. And I'm hoping that just kind of catching up, talking about some things will help me get out some of this jittery energy so I can go focus. I also have so much to share with you guys. Like there's a lot happening right now, and a lot happening. I guess I feel like there is always a lot happening. I feel blessed to control my own schedule, but, well, I shouldn't say but. One of the elements of my life right now is that every day is almost entirely different. And that makes it very exciting. I wake up every day not knowing what's going to happen for the day. I often try to plan it, and then things rarely go as planned. So I just wanted to share with you some of those. First of all, let me tell you about the source of caffeine that I took today. I'll put a link to this in the description. I got this at the Circle V Festival the other day. If you saw my video on that, this was a big vegan music festival that was absolutely phenomenal, and I spoke at it, which was like, I just feel so honored and charged up by that. But in the green room, which was like the behind the scenes room for like speakers and the musicians that were performing and like, I don't know, VIPs, whatever, they had like all this food laid out, which was really neat. And one of the products they had was this, and I grabbed some on my way out thinking it might be worth trying. Good Day chocolate. They make these chocolates infused with various things. Like they had some with turmeric that were really tasty. They taste and look like very large M&Ms, but they're made with real dark chocolate. And this one has energy in it. I think I might have taken too much. I don't know if any of you guys, when like you're drinking alcohol, or if you ever do something like marijuana and you have edibles, if you get a little too excited about it, and then you take a lot of it, and then you're like, whoa, I had too much. Like I misjudged the amount that I'm supposed to have. That can still happen even if you don't do drugs. I actually kind of consider caffeine a drug, especially the way I feel right now. I feel like I'm on like speed or something, which I've never done, but I feel like I could talk a mile per minute. Caffeine's crazy to me, and I'm really trying to figure out my ideal dosage and what's gonna help me and if I even should take it at all, because I've been reading a lot about the downsides of caffeine. But anyways, if you do like caffeine, if you want more caffeine, and you are looking for different ways to have it in your life, this is interesting. So again, I'll link to this in the description. I also am not super... I think it also depends on your body and your like tolerance to things. So I think there's 2 servings in here, and they're these 4 like big pieces of chocolate. And it says on the side like how much you could take. If you take the whole box, which is 8 of them, it's supposed to give you like a ton of energy. I think I took 3 or 4, which is about a serving, and they're like, yeah, it's a bit of a bolt. For me, that was like really intense. It also is coupled with the fact that I had some matcha green tea, which has caffeine in it too. So who knows, but I am very lit up. So that's that. I also got something really cool in the mail. If you don't yet, I encourage you to follow my Instagram stories, because on Instagram I'll post fun things that I'm doing in my life. I'll post food, most of it is food or cute moments with Evie or other dogs or animals, cats, and just things like unboxings. I also do unboxings on the main Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel and Facebook page, which are linked down below. So if you guys just want to see other things beyond this channel, I just do a lot of other things. So today's Instagram story featured an unboxing of this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to use this. This is a bag from Canopy Verde. They are become a bit of a partner of mine now, and I am obsessed with their bags. They don't pay me, but they send me bags, and I'm like so in love with this. It's vegan leather. They use organic cotton inside and eco-friendly dyes. It's made in Brooklyn by this amazing female entrepreneur, and this, I think I have 3 big bags from them. I had a 4th, but that one was like an older model that didn't stand the test of time. And then I have like these smaller, like a coin purse and a little, what's the word? I don't remember what it's called, but the smaller bag, right? And so they sent me this one today, and I'm just like, oh, like so happy. So I wanted to share my happiness with you guys. You can see all this and the other bags on my Instagram if you're curious. But I will link to them too. I just adore the woman behind this brand so much. If you haven't heard me say this before, I find myself, maybe I should actually, now that I'm talking out loud about this, I've really been trying to figure out the direction of Eco Vegan Gal now that my coaching and business side of my life is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've just been reflecting so much, and I said this a bit in I think the last video, is like, what is going to happen with Eco Vegan Gal? I don't know, and I really believe in letting things kind of organically evolve, but what I was about to say is that I think that I know that one of my favorite things to do is to just review. If you've been following me for a while, or you go back to the very beginning of Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel, that all started with restaurant reviews. And here's the crazy thing, you guys, like there's been so many instances of just things coming full circle. It's crazy, and I want to share this stuff with you guys because, as I always say, or I say very often, is more honest, but my aim with this channel is not just to share my life, my feelings, my experiences with you, but my hope is that it inspires you, it educates you, you are thinking of new things, whatever it is. Like, that's why I share. I also honestly share because I like to share. I hope that it goes both ways. But here's the story. So my very first, I think it was my first video. If it wasn't the very first one, it was like the first official one. What is the first video on my channel? I need to go look that up. But when I really got into Eco Vegan Gal was through doing restaurant reviews with my sister. In early 2009, she came to visit me, and I took her to all these vegan restaurants. I think it was her first time in LA, and I don't think she's been back since, which is really upsetting. It's so crazy. But everything really started to come, like, make me feel like this is what I want to do with my life because of these videos I did with my sister. And we went to, I don't know, somewhere close to 10 restaurants, and there are at least 5 videos, I think, and it's called like Mary and Whitney's Vegan Tour of LA or something. It was so cheesy, and I was like experimenting with editing these type of videos back then. And I think the very first restaurant review we did was at this place that no longer exists called Madeline Bistro. And Madeline Bistro had this incredible chef named Dave Anderson. And Dave has been known by many vegans as one of the most talented vegan chefs. And it was so sad when this restaurant closed. It was like one of the first fancy vegan restaurants, in addition to some of my other favorites like Candle 79 in New York and Millennium, which is, I think they renamed it, right? Since I moved from San Francisco, I feel disconnected. But Millennium moved to a different part of the Bay Area and was and probably still is my favorite vegan restaurant of all time. I just haven't been in a long time. And Candle 79 is great too, but Madeline Bistro was like up there. And now we have Crossroads in LA, which kind of took over. But I just remember like being new to content creation, and I was starting to review things, and like I was like, wow, I really love reviewing restaurants. And I don't really do that in that form anymore. My reviews actually take place mainly on Instagram stories, so another reason to follow, and occasionally on posts or videos, like when I was really active with the What a Vegan Eats channel. Maybe one day I'll do that again. But my big point was that I'm now maybe working with Dave Anderson, and I can't, or I won't share, I'm not sure how much I can share, but Dave has this really amazing new company. As soon as I can, I will tell you guys a ton about them. I'm not sure how public it is yet, but I've been talking with Dave and his business partner for probably close to 2 years, if not over 2 years. At least a year and a half, somewhere between that and 2 years. But they are doing something really revolutionary, which is so exciting. I mean, this time in veganism is unbelievable. And just the product development. So this was discussed at Circle V. Sorry, I hope the video is not all jittery like it is on my side. If it is, hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me enough for this story. But anyways, so it's really amazing. Hi, Derek. It's really amazing that sometimes you start something and it takes many years or quite a relatively long time for it to really reveal itself as what it truly is. And sometimes you plant seeds and you don't know what that seed is going to grow into, or you forget about something. I mean, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. This is one of the joys of having a long career. Eco Vegan Gal is going to be 10 years old next year. I started it at the end of 2008, and so I just crossed the 9-year anniversary. I've been waiting for my 10-year anniversary for Eco Vegan Gal since like year 2, because I was like, when I get to 10 years, is it jittery? Sorry, you guys, my phone is like in slow motion. If it's not on your end, I will not continue to let it bother me, but it seems to get worse and worse. Anyways, if any of you watching live can give me feedback on that, let me know. There's not much I can do except restart my phone, which I don't feel like doing. So as long as you can hear me and see me, okay, that's all I care about, as long as that's okay with you. Anyways, so having the audio is working well, maybe the video not so much. That's okay. I'm just going to continue. It's fine, says Yadi. Thank you for your feedback. Not too bad. Keep going. I appreciate you guys. All right. So anyways, that's so exciting, right? And to see how I've evolved over that time is just such a blessing, right? When I went to Madeline Bistro and did that video, if you watch it, it's so awkward. And actually, but I like the fact that it's awkward. It's awkward, it's authentically awkward, because that's just where I was at the time. If I remember, I'll link to it in the description. But it also shows how challenging it is in the beginning, if you're doing something for the first time, right? And people will say to me, like, you're so comfortable doing this, like, how are you, so comfortable on camera or on stage? Like, the other day when I did the Circle V festival, I just felt so great. I know I always think of ways I can improve, but I felt really good about how I as they say, commanded the stage at that time. And the panelists that were on stage are not very used to those settings. So afterwards they were telling me how nervous they were and how they couldn't think clearly. And one of them was like, how do you do this? And I'm like, it's just practice. I've been on stage so much in so many different instances throughout my life that even it still makes me nervous, but I've grown comfortable with it. And the same is true with video. And you can go back and see the beginning of my career, how awkward I was, in my opinion, right? And I if you guys ever decide to start YouTube channels, do video content, which you probably will, given how things are evolving in social media, it's okay to be awkward in the beginning. Like, nobody really remembers how I was in those videos, as far as I know. They just remember that I did them. They're not like, wow, you were really bad in the beginning. Like, back then, relatively, not a lot of people were doing YouTube in 2008 and 2009. So what I was doing back then was like fairly advanced because nobody really knew what they were doing back then. And I was like shooting with a nice camera and editing it and all that stuff. And so the industry's evolved over time, and so have I. And my relationships have evolved. Like, I have been exploring the opportunity to work with Dave and his team and I was drawn to that opportunity because I had that knowledge of who he was from when I first started, right? So for me, I just thought Dave Anderson was so incredible, and still do, and that's all because I was going to Madeleine Bistro and reviewing it, and I was in this whole industry, and now it's evolving into a completely different type of relationship where I'm bringing my expertise in social media and marketing and monetization and all branding and all that stuff and helping him. And that's incredible. Also today, I had a Skype, like, kind of like a consultation with a new contact of mine who is a massive vegan content creator. As I've said before, I don't like to share names. I'll share Dave's because I don't need to share all the details, but I won't share the name of the person that I was working with earlier today. Maybe as that relationship evolves, I will in the future, but really I'm honored to be connected to this person. And I may be helping him and his brand out, and that's really, really exciting. And I just feel so fulfilled. I love the business side of it. And it even just talking about it right now, like, I'm like this, my heart, like, I can feel it expanding. And I hope that you guys have those experiences. And if you haven't yet, keep looking for them, because you don't know how things, I guess that's kind of the point of this video, is how things can evolve. So for me, what I would say to you for business advice, but based on my personal experiences and research, is like, you know that you're doing the right thing in your life. You have your calling when your heart feels that way, when you feel fulfilled and energized versus drained by something. And so for me, I've realized how many people in the vegan community need my help from a business standpoint and want my help. Literally everybody I talk to, if they don't already have a coach, a mentor, a consultant, they want to work with me. And I'm not saying that from an ego standpoint, I'm just realizing how needed this is. And I recognize that with content creation, I often feel like I'm swimming upstream. I feel like what I'm doing with Eco Vegan Gal is just kind of getting lost in the masses, right? My ego does not like that experience. My ego feels competitive at times. My ego feels insecure. My ego feels lost or confused or conflicted. And that is really, really challenging. I still want to continue to be a content creator because my heart does expand from that. But it's constantly at odds with the fact that there are so many other people doing it that it's like, I wonder how much of value it is. This channel is very different because the Uncensored channel is really about sharing me and my life. I'm here to hopefully inspire you guys, but really to connect with you. And I've realized over time that connection is so important. So I think in 2008, my focus is going to be mainly on Eco Vegan Pal. I really want to pour so much more into that. And by the way, I have a huge Black Friday thing coming up. So if you are interested in Eco Vegan Pal, sign up for the Uncensored newsletter, which will be linked in the description of this video. So you'll be notified because there's a huge sale and all sorts of really cool things happening for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And if you guys aren't in the US, those are like when great deals happen. So if you have been thinking about joining Eco Vegan Pal, this will be a time to get it at a great value and lots of special things involved with it. And for those of you who are already Eco Vegan Pal members, like there's so much more coming. I recently started the book club and accountability partners and special uncensored videos. I've done a few of those and we'll be doing more. So if you haven't heard me talk about that before, within the Eco Vegan Pal membership, I have this private group that you have to ask me to join, which is just like sending me a message, and you get part of this like secret group where I share videos completely privately with people. And those videos are me sharing very specific details. Like in there, I would probably share with you some of the names that I omit from these videos. I would share with you guys parts of my personal life that I never talk about publicly here, because when I have, there's been some weird experiences with people knowing too much information about me. And that's why I created this secret group in Eco Vegan Pal that anybody is welcome to join. It's really neat in Eco Vegan Pal because in order to join the secret group, you send me a video about yourself so I know who you are. And that way it becomes this very trusted community and conversation. So when I know who you guys are and I feel like I can trust you, I open up even more than I do now in these videos. And it's just been so freeing and beautiful to have that group in there. The people that are in there right now, I'm just like, again, talking about heart, like my heart just feels so fulfilled to know you guys. And some of you I've met in person, some of you I've been doing things with online for a while, and even just seeing your usernames over and over again means so much to me. So I know I'm kind of like all over the place because of the caffeine. So thank you for your patience with that. Let's see. Okay, so I told you about the meeting today in the bag. I'll tell you about last night. I didn't document this too much, but I'm so excited about this too. Hi, Debbie. Last night I went to this amazing vegan potluck. And again, this is like about things coming full circle. And I think my heart's expanding me thinking about this too, is that I love connecting with people and deepening relationships. I'm also incredibly introverted, if you didn't know about this yet. Introversion has a long definition. It can be a complex definition, meaning if you really want to know a lot about it. But the simplest way for me to describe my introversion is that I gain more energy when I'm by myself or taking caffeine. I lose energy when I'm around other people, especially multiple people. So last night was interesting because I went to this big potluck. There was probably 200 people there, and it was really exciting because there's a lot of people there that are about deepening relationships. So Asher Brown, for example, is somebody I've known for a while, and we became friends last year, and we've been working together. We just worked on this amazing project called Cuisine, and I think I mentioned it to you guys earlier. It's a vegan cooking show that is launching I think this week. If it's not this week, it's next week. And the twist on this cooking show is that all the contestants smoke marijuana before cooking. So if you're not into marijuana drugs, like this show will not be for you. You don't have to do it yourself to enjoy it. It's just an interesting twist on it because it was a fascinating project. I did the behind the scenes for it, and I produced all the social media content, or most of the social media content, the videos and the photos, and directed the photographers, the videographers, and worked with the social team. It was such a rewarding project for me. And a huge part of my job was interviewing the contestants on this show. And it actually reinvigorated my feelings about marijuana because I think it's incredible. Marijuana does not have to be something something that you take to get high. It doesn't have to be this rebellious drug. It's actually very medicinal. And so you don't have to get high to enjoy the medicinal benefits of it, because you can take things like CBD, which don't have any of the psychoactive elements to it. This show did focus on the psychoactive elements of it, but the contestants themselves, almost all, if not all of them, really see marijuana as like something that can help them. So a lot of them talked about CBD, a lot of them use it to be more creative, more relaxed, and it was just like an incredible thing to watch. I just saw the first episode of High Cuisine last night because they premiered it at this vegan potluck, and I'm just so proud to be part of it. I didn't know I was going to be in the credits, so I'm in the credits of it, which is cool. I probably have another IMDb credit. And it just feels like it could become like a really great thing. And anyway, so I was at the potluck. The show is shot at the location of the potluck, which is Pollution Studios. It's a huge production studio owned by a vegan, Asher Brown. And he's a producer and a director. And so he just opened up his space. He does this every year to the vegan community. And I think anybody can go to this. So if you guys are in LA and you want to come to this next year, you just have to RSVP on Facebook and come in. And everybody brings dishes. If you go to my Instagram now, you'll still see some footage because it's been less than 24 hours since I went. So go now to the Instagram stories if you want to see. I recorded them about 24 hours ago. So you'll see a little bit of footage of what it was like. There's these long tables, and tables for sitting and tables for food. The table for food was as long as the table for sitting because everybody brought a dish. So there was just dishes everywhere full of all these different types of plant-based food. And we just shared food and sat down and talked. I went with my friend Allison, who has been evolving into a really great business partner. Allison started as a student of mine in one of my coaching programs, and now she's become a very dear friend. So it's another story of how you never know how relationships are going to evolve. Also tonight I'm going to a wrap party for High Cuisine, and I'm so excited about this. High Cuisine was deeply rewarding for me because I used to work in production, and again, full circle stories, right? I spent so much of my life thinking that I was going to be a filmmaker, that was going to be my career. And now I'm a video creator, so it's still in alignment with my passions, but I've left that big production world. And there are times where my heart aches for those experiences of being on set. Being on set for High Cuisine a few months ago, or a month ago, was just deeply, deeply fulfilling. And so to go to a wrap party tonight, we're going to this great place called Block Party, which I've been hearing great things about. If you're in LA, you should check it out too. One of the people that was on the show, he is like a master cocktail creator and a very passionate vegan. He's created cocktails for Gracias Madre and Cafe Gratitude, which are two great restaurants in Los Angeles. And he has this place called Block Party now. So we're having a party there, and the cast and crew are going to be there. We're going to watch the premiere of the show. So maybe I'll post some stuff about that on Instagram stories too. Let's see. So that's kind of like a catch up on things that are going on. Oh, the other thing. Last night after the potluck, I went to a pig vigil. This is my second time going. If you go to the main Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel, which is linked below, you can find a live video I did at the first pig vigil that I went to. And you know what's interesting is that I don't really consider myself a vegan activist in that I don't really act like one, but my heart is passionate about activism in a subtler way than some of the more outward activists out there, like, you know, going to protests and putting certain posts online. Like, you know, my content's more about lifestyle and sharing with people how they can become vegan and what to do. But I do like participating in activism, and going to this vigil is an example of that. So if you haven't heard me talk about it yet, the pig vigils are bearing witness to the pigs that are about to go be slaughtered. And the concept of it is really, really disturbing for most people. Or maybe everybody. I mean, it's a disturbing thing, right? But some people are so disturbed they can't even imagine themselves going to this. Whereas for me, now that I've gone 2 times, I want to go regularly. And let me tell you why. Well, first let me describe it. It's downtown in Los Angeles. Pig vigils happen a few places across the world. It started to gain a lot of traction because of Toronto. There's a organization called Toronto Pig Save, and now there's LA Animal Save, LAAS, yeah, I think it's LA Animal Save. And they have Instagram presence, so if you're not in any of these cities, you can still follow along online, you can share, you can donate, you can tell people to go to these vigils and things like that. What they do every Sunday in downtown Los Angeles is gather a group of people outside of Farmer John, which is a slaughterhouse. That's where they make pork products. And every Sunday night, trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks of pigs come in and are brought into the slaughterhouse. LA Animal Save, I really hope I'm calling them the right name. I might have to look this up. I'll just post it downline. I won't do that right now. But they have lead this group of people that stand on the sidewalks outside of Farmer John and bear witness to the pigs on these trucks and give them water and say hello. And it's really fascinating for me. As I mention often, study psychology, and personal awareness, meditation, mindfulness, all of that. And so the more tuned in I get to my head and my heart, my head and my heart, it's fascinating to observe processes and actions. And so what's interesting to me about going to these vigils is that I could easily tune in or tune out the heartbreaking parts of it. What I've chosen to do, whether it's a defense mechanism or a mechanism to just be less selfish, is to turn off the heartbreaking part. It's still there subtly, so maybe turn off isn't the right word. Turn it way down. Because there's a huge part of me that just wants to sob, and even just talking about it is getting emotional. But, just sit there and just be heartbroken at the fact that there are this many pigs going into slaughter so frequently. What I think is so important about many elements of life is that awareness and really knowing what's happening and where things come from. So it's fascinating and a bit of a shame that these pig vigils are mostly filled with people that are vegans or animal rights activists, both usually, or they're curious. What is rare is somebody being there that eats products like pork. But I kind of wish those people were there, because when you see this in person, and you don't see any gore, all that happens here is the trucks roll up, they stop, the people attending go see the pigs, give them water, and then the trucks go in, the gate opens, they go in, the gate closes, and you don't hear anything. You don't see or hear anything. So whatever they do with the pigs, it is removed from where we're standing outside for the vigil. So fortunately, there's a bit of dissonance because you are not sitting there experiencing the horrors of it, except mentally, you know what's about to happen. And that's the hard part, is that I'll find myself going in and out of that consciousness at these vigils where I'll be staring at these pigs and I'm like, oh my gosh, these pigs are, it's gonna make me cry, about to lose their lives. And it's interesting because it is really horrific. My mind right now is now going through all of it. But when I'm there, I get into this interesting mode of not recognizing or not being present to what's about to happen. And I think that's truly present, because what's about to happen is in the future, right? What's happened to these pigs before I meet them is the past. The present moment is being right there in front of these pigs and giving them love and water and saying, I see you. It's literally looking them in the eyes and being there for them. That is true presence, and I think that's why I want to continue going to these vigils. Certainly you can feel very helpless because you're in front of these pigs knowing that they're about to be killed for unnecessary reasons. And you know, part of you might want to throw yourself in front of the truck, right? But here's the interesting thing is there's an agreement that's happened that makes these vigils possible. And this is one of the many interesting elements of vegan living, is like all these things that we do to kind of prevent this. But there are elements of life of vegan living right now where we just have to bear witness and be honest about what's really going on. So in these cases, sure, we could protest it, but protesting it, I think, is getting in the way in this specific instance because the vigils are set up for us to give love to these pigs that have probably never received love before from humans and never will again because they're about to be killed. It is an opportunity for us to raise awareness about the realities. So, for example, I really want to bring non-vegans to this, like anybody that's open. It's hard to get people to go to a vigil because it seems so horrific, and it is, and it's hard to like psychologically explain the benefits of it. But the protest, I think, would get in the way because the organization has made these relationships with Farmer John and the police to allow us to do this for the pigs. So on a level, what we're doing is giving love because that's potentially all we can, and in that moment, all we can do, right? If we were to protest it, that protest could possibly stop slaughter, maybe, for that one night. But if we protested it, if we got in the way of the trucks getting through, we'd probably never be allowed back again. And so it's looking at the long tail, which again is another theme of this video today, is that you never know how it's about planting seeds really and understanding your heart, connecting with your heart. So the seeds that are being planted at these vigils is raising awareness and giving love. The vigils last night was 200 people showed up, and including Joaquin Phoenix, Moby, Rooney Mara, Jermaine Jackson. There were a number of public figures there, and then a ton of people on social media. And these people are sharing on their social media. They're doing live videos. They're doing Instagram stories. They are posting on their social media about it. There are people holding signs to let passing cars know what's going on. They projected a message onto the walls. And I just can't help thinking, what are the drivers thinking about this? What are the people working at Farmer John thinking about this? It's very possible that part of them is being influenced by this too. While maybe on a surface level they may be irritated, they may feel like this is unnecessary or pointless, they may feel macho and feel like they want to, or ignorant, whatever term you want to use, they just want to eat these animals and this is a business and all these justifications that can go on. But my belief is that deep down they know that these animals are being killed unnecessarily, and it's not worth the taste, it's not worth the cruelty, it's not worth the death and destruction that causes. And on some level there is that planting the seed that maybe this will end in the future, right? And so that's why the vigils are more effective than a protest, in my opinion, because we do these vigils, or they do these vigils every single Sunday. I think they started at the beginning of this year. So that's incredible. There are 50 somewhat Sundays in every year, right? And that's a lot of people that are being inspired and educated. That's a lot of messaging, right? Like they say that people need to see things like 5 to 10 times in order to really understand or remember. Imagine being one of those drivers. Every Sunday you show up with a truck full of pigs headed to slaughter, and you see these kind-hearted activists there reminding you that this doesn't have to happen. I bet you that it's affecting these drivers and workers, and one of these days they're going to quit, or they're going to stand up and say something. That's my hope, at least. there's a lot to be said about the vigils, and I really encourage you guys. I mean, look, I'm saying this to you, and you may say this to other people. Maybe you'll go to a vigil or encourage somebody else to go. If there's part of you that feels scared to attend something like this or to watch a video, I would say that see if you can find in yourself to be brave for the animals. I've had this belief, as harsh as it may sound, that it is selfish not to show up for the animals. It is selfish to turn our eyes away because those animals didn't have a choice. They couldn't choose not to be slaughtered. Those animals didn't choose to be raised the way that they were. We can choose to be vegan. We can choose to be activists. We can choose to attend something, to give love. We can choose, what we eat. Like all of these elements, we have choice and they don't. And I guess like for me, the selfishness is like if we turn a blind eye, there's part of us that's ignoring it. Even if we know information, for me, the reminder to see animal rights videos, the reminder to attend things like vigils, like that inspires me and hits me on a level I may not even notice. But long-term wise, like I can become a better activist, I can become a better educator, the more I'm tuned in, the more awareness I have, right? And also mindfulness is huge. I'm reading this book right now called The Mindful Vegan, which just came out. I'll link to that below as well. And I'm doing that as part of the Eco Vegan Pal Book Club, by the way. Being mindful is also a huge part of my mission to inspire you guys and others to learn how to do, because in the instance of last night being at this vigil, like just standing there in front of a pig and looking it in the eye and saying, I see you and you're loved and I'm sorry and I'm doing whatever I can. That to me is, that's where the selflessness comes into play. I could have stayed home. I almost didn't go last night. But I have that image of that pig staring back at me through the bars of a truck. And I feel like it would have been really selfish of me not to go because I was afraid of the sadness, right? But that the decision to give love despite pain is one of the greatest decisions that we can make as humans, I believe, because love can be painful. And sometimes we have an opportunity to give love to another being, whether it's animal or a person. And we have that choice, but we may choose not to do it because it's hard or we're scared. I personally want to break through those barriers. I don't want to turn away from doing something because it's hard or painful. If it can help somebody else, then I feel like I should do my best to do it. Easier said than done. But man, like if I was on a truck on my way to slaughter and I was scared out of my mind and uncomfortable and dehydrated, if someone came up to me and handed me a bottle of water and said, drink this and I love you and I'm sorry, that sounds like a much better way to go than to die without any love, without ever experiencing that. So, yeah, it's like, it's easy to turn this off in those moments, but this is what lays there underneath, and this is why the vigils are tough, but they're really worth it. That just one pig I was looking at last night, or several pigs, looking at their ears, and thinking of how their ears look like my dog's ears, and their eyes look like my dog's eyes, and just how sweet pigs are energetically. Making that connection and knowing that that animal was raised for somebody to have them 5-10 minutes of pleasure is so disturbing. And we can think about that on, I'm sure you guys are thinking that, or many of you are thinking that right now. You know that, you know consciously what I'm expressing, but when you see it in person, it's on a much deeper level than we're so used to in life. I think right now, everything's so digital. And there are all these studies coming out about how digital relationships and digital information is not in our heads or our hearts the same way as a physical in-person connection, right? Like connecting with someone online is very different than connecting with someone in person. Reading something online, studying something is very different than actually doing it. So knowing that pigs go to slaughter and people are eating them and these pigs are suffering, reading about that scene, videos, all of that is very different than showing up in person and smelling the pigs, touching the pigs, seeing the pigs in front of you, feeling the pig's energy. Like that hits you on such a deep, deep level that digital information can't, literally. So I hope that you guys will find it in your hearts to do something similar if this feels in alignment with you. I know the barriers of fear can really get in the way, but I encourage you to push past that, even if it's going to an animal sanctuary and connecting with pigs that have been saved or other animals that have been saved. But if you have the chance to do a vigil, I hope you'll consider it. And if you want to come to LA and do it with me, I would be honored to do that with you one-on-one. Okay, now that I'm all emotional, at least I'm less wound down than I was earlier. Maybe I can focus and I will have a new level of inspiration to do the work I need to do. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for watching. This video, as is often the case, is different from what I planned it to be. I'm going to read your comments that I haven't read yet, and then I'm going to get back to work. So, let's see. Ted said, thank you for a look at something I couldn't imagine seeing where I live, the pig vigil. I'm a non-vegan and interested in Buddhism. I would love to go see it someday if I visit LA. Thank you for the hugs, Debbie. Ted said, Whitney, have you ever heard of cultures who soberly, maybe humbly thanks the animals before, even though they eat meat, they are more wakeful and mindful about what they're doing? It's not right that we abstract what we do, and we are so unconscious about it. Sending you a hug too. I'm glad you shared this experience with us. Musty Fan said, I really need to do this, really open my mind and reaffirm my resolve. So to Ted's question about giving thanks to an animal, you know, obviously for me, my perspective is that we don't need to eat meat, and I have no desire to eat meat or other animal products. I mean, I do honestly have a desire to eat dairy because, and not like a psychological desire, but like, you know, I remember what dairy tastes like, and it's very pleasurable. But I'm, you know, thankfully I can have that pleasure from plant-based sources. So it's not fully honest for me to say I don't desire it. I truly don't desire meat, though, at all, meat or fish, flesh of any type. Like I don't desire it. And I'm so fulfilled by plant-based options. And that's the thing that I just wish that more people could experience. You know, a lot of people think that they need meat and think that they really love it and plant-based food will never satisfy it. And I just don't think you can truly know that unless you experiment it and really give it your best. I think that there's a number of people that have tried veganism and then stopped and say that it was affecting their health, and I honestly don't know if I believe that that's fully true. I think it's a very complicated thing. There's cultural biases, there's tradition, there's a lot of conflicting evidence out there, but I've been vegan for 14 years, you know? Like, literally no doctor has ever told me not to be vegan. So I guess I just struggle to understand why. I understand the psychological side of it for sure, or as much as I can read about it. I can't understand it with my heart anymore. I can understand from my past experiences why I ate meat and animal products. But I did it out of ignorance. And now that I know, and now that I've experienced it for so long, I don't see another way that, you know, but that doesn't mean any disrespect for people that are currently choosing to eat animal products. It's just that I will always push you to think about, is that really what you want to do on a very deep level? Does that really feel right? And are your reasons for eating animal products, or a reason for not going vegan, are they legitimate, or are they just temporary excuses? But I know that's not exactly answering your question. I think for people that choose to eat animals and try to eat animals that are maybe raised differently or killed, quote unquote, humanely, or, you know, they want to thank them before they're slaughtered, it's certainly better than the most cases. I mean, that's kind of what we do at the vigils, is we don't thank them, but we apologize to them. And we let them know that we're doing what we can to stop this. And, you know, I guess the vigils are not that far off, except that the people at the vigils they're not eating the animals versus people that might thank them or honor them before them and then eat them. Like, I suppose from a Buddhist or consciousness level, like, if that feels better to you, it's certainly better than people that eat animals without knowing where they're from, and eat animals that, you know, they killed out of pride or whatever else. But, you know, it's also a judgment from me, and I still have a lot of judgments around that. I try not to be judgmental. I've been reading this great book called Beyond Beliefs about this subject matter, and I can only be responsible for my own decisions and mindsets and approach to things. I'm not responsible for other people's choices. You know, other people will make their choices and live the lives that they want to. So it's a complicated thing. But thank you, Ted, for, you know, I never want to exclude anybody from watching my videos or enjoying my content because they're not vegan. You know, veganism is a big passion and belief system of mine, but that I want to include everybody and encourage them to make their own choices and what feels right to them. All right, speaking of choices, speaking of activism, I have work to be done and a party to go to tonight that I have to get prepped for. So thank you guys for being here live. I will see you soon. This is the third video I've done in like a week for this channel. So I feel very inspired and connected to you, and I appreciate you. I'm working on doing audio versions of these. You know, I know watching an hour-long video is not appealing, but maybe listening to it will. So stay tuned for that. And just sending you so much love wherever you are in your journey. I really would love to hear from you. So if you think of something that you want to share in the comment on the recorded videos, I would really, really love to see that. Thank you, Debbie, for being here. I can't wait to see you soon. Thank you for Vegan Goonie to being here. And Musty, I am working on a podcast. That's part of some of my many future projects. But yeah. Yep, I've been thinking about podcasting a lot, and over the weekend I was presented 2 different opportunities to have a professional podcast. So we'll see when it happens. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All right. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you very soon. Sending you so much love, and I can't wait to read your comments. Bye.